Hey guys, this is Shadow Soul 117 here for you guys today. I have a review on Mirai Nikki, aka Future Diary. I'm just gonna go ahead and say spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you guys haven't seen Mirai Nikki, I would suggest going and watching the anime before you continue with this video. Because I don't like giving anything away. I don't personally like spoilers. So I was just letting you guys know that. But if you have, let's just jump right into this, guys. Um, the beginning of Mirai Nikki completely gives away the most important plot twist of this entire anime, and so does the intro if you're really paying attention, if you've already seen it one or two times. You kind of start to pick up on things. Um, and also how Yuno acts throughout the entire anime. She kind of gives hints on, like, hey, I've been through this before, this has already happened before, I know what's gonna happen. And some of the ways she kills people in the anime kind of relates to that fact. Whenever she's like, okay, I've done this before. I know how this person's gonna come attack me, come attack Yuki. She tries to play it off like she doesn't know with some of the lines she says, but at the same time, she knows how Yuki's diary works really well. Which is something that I don't really agree that they should have done. Because that kind of gives it away too much. But overall, the anime was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would probably give this a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was my 7th entry on my top 10 list. If you haven't seen that, I'm gonna put a link to the video right here, if you guys want to click and watch that. And also I'm gonna link it down in the description as well. And And I know some of you guys, this is like your favorite anime, and it was really good, don't get me wrong, but there was some points in it that I didn't really agree with on how they did it. For one, Murmur, her character was kind of confusing sometimes. I didn't really like that character at all, except when it got to episode 25 and 26, and then the OVA. She wasn't really useful at all. I understand how she was helping helping Yuno out since she was the first iteration of that universe's God of Time because she won, and I understand how she was helping her out and everything, but at the same time, I feel like they wrote her character completely wrong. She's not really a supporting character. I mean, yeah, she nudges things along and she does kind of make things go in a way that I don't think they would have if she hadn't have been there, but not in a very drastic way at all. Um, the only part she really starts to help is towards the end whenever Yuno traps Yuki in that sphere using using Deus's core that Murmur got for her. But at the same time, that's really the only time Murmur ever helps is to get Yuno the core of Deus so she can trap Yuki in that sphere and give him this perfect reality. Um, and one of the characters that I really did like in the anime, we don't really meet till about episode 8-ish. It's kind of later on in the episode. His name's Akise. You guys are going to know him really well. He is the instrument of Deus, as Deus puts it later on in the anime. Pretty much towards the end, and Akise is this character to where he is a kid detective, and I think they write his character out really well, because he is kind of a complete counterbalance for Yuki. And he balances out Yuno really well too. Kind of levels out her crazy and helps Yuki to see that he is the reason that Yuno's keeping a level head sometimes. And well, a lot of my friends like to joke around and say that Yuno is almost waifu material. But at the same time, like the reason why we don't say she is because she's crazy. Um, but I do like the version of Yuno before the second iteration comes and kills her. or the first iteration of Yuno comes and kills the second iteration, the one that Yuki actually falls in love with. I do like that a lot. Um, I kind of feel like that version of Yuki, or that version of Yuno, would have been a lot more level-headed, I guess you could say, a lot more agreeable. Not as super crazy, not as murder everyone. And I don't think she would have necessarily lied to Yuno or to Yuki about not about being able to bring people back to life. Um, and that lie right there was probably one of the biggest reasons Yuki starts to act as he does. And I love how towards the end he realizes that he can't bring people back after he starts killing his friends. But when he brings it up to Yuno later, he's not really like mad about it at all. He's like, "Why did you tell me I could bring everyone back when you knew it was a lie?" Which kind of hints at the fact that he knows she's already the god of time. And I think it's really cool how he says he doesn't want to kill her. He doesn't want that to be part of their relationship, and he doesn't want that to be the way the relationship ends, which is really cool. Um, and if you have watched this several times, and you do pick up on the hints that the beginning of the first episode drops and the intro drops, everything is just flat out confirmed at the very end of the anime. And I do love how the OVA wraps up the anime. It wraps it up perfectly. Their love story blossoms and they finally get to be together. But like I said, some of the problems I have with the anime is how they just throw characters at us out of nowhere. They do give us kind of a little bit of a backstory, but not much. Um, like Yuki's backstory. They don't really give us a whole lot on Yuki's backstory at all. We just all of a sudden thrown into this character, which is completely fine. Because of how they played it off, but I didn't really like that all that much. Um, I like it in certain animes to where they introduce the main character in an episode, and then they kind of go to a flashback to give you some kind of information. Like they go through like this big tragic scene to where something happens to the main character, and then they kind of jump back to give you some idea of who the main character is, so you can really relate to them a lot more. Um, and they didn't really do that a whole lot. They did with Yuno. They did that a lot with Yuno. I think for the simple fact to get us to realize and to drop hints at us that she is the god of time. They didn't really do that with any other character except for Ninth. And forgive me for remembering her name. I have no idea what her name is off the top of my head. But they did that with Ninth. They gave us a lot of backstory on her. We got to figure out why she was how she was, and the leader of the Okada cult. They did that with her as well. But they did it for a reason on her. They did it to get us to realize that little red ball's importance to her and how it distracted her long enough for Yuki to be able to save Yuno from being raped by this long line of men. Um, which they do that for not really shock value, I believe. They do that to get us more invested into the characters themselves. If they were doing it for shock value, I don't think it would have ended the way it did. They kind of do the same thing with the seventh pair. They do that with them because they want to tell us why they love each other so much and why they're so invested in their relationship, which is completely fine. How it worked out was great. And how they died was a really the way that I feel like they should have gone out. Just because of how they acted and how they felt about each other. And one of the other things I really like about this anime is when they go back in time, Yuki and Ninth, whenever they go back in time to stop the second iteration of Yuno from killing the third iteration of Yuno and starting this whole process over again. I like how when Yuki finally breaks out of this sphere that Yuno trapped him in, everything just starts to go nuts. Everything rewrites itself. You actually get to see the characters live out their lives, or snippets of how the characters would live out their lives if they never were entered in this giant tournament. To see who would replace God. Um, I think that's really interesting how they did that, and But again, I don't agree with Murmur's character at all. Some of you are probably going to disagree with me because she does kind of play a little bit of a key points, but at the same time, not really, like, at all. I think the fight between Yuno and Yuki would have ended almost the same, with him being trapped in that sphere, and her going to kill her third iteration self, and then Yuki breaking out of that sphere and stopping her from doing that. Um, and something that didn't really explain too well was what happens afterwards in the third iteration of the story. I know it's not really important, but just me being a really big anime fan, I kind of want to know. Like I said, they give you snippets into looking into everybody else's life, and one thing they don't really do at all is explain, like, Kurisu, the detective, was there when there was two Yunos in the same place, and then when Yuki just comes out of nowhere and grabs her and stops her from killing the third iteration of herself, and then when Yuki stabs herself in the side, Kurisu sees all of this, and it's not really clear to see whether or not if Deus wipes everyone's memory, or if he uses Murmur to do that. It's not really explained at all. I would kind of like to see that continued, just that segment continued, just to see how everything ended out. Just because me personally, I just want to know. Because it just left a whole bunch of unanswered questions. But again, I would definitely recommend this anime to anybody who likes mysteries, psychologicals, and romance animes. It's really good. There's a lot of twists and turns that you don't really see coming. Like for instance with Akise, when Deus tells him that he is an instrument of Deus's own use and he doesn't really have any free will. That is a really big plot twist that I didn't see coming. Um, but the way they did it was ingenious. The way they pulled that off was really cool. How Deus tried to get Akise to prove any action of his that was performed in his own free will, so Deus would allow him to live and allow him to continue existing, as Deus puts it. And he goes through all these things. He talks about how he loves Yuki, and Deus is like, "That's all an illusion. I did that for you to want to get closer to Yuki." Um, and then how Akise comes back and says, "No, this is completely out of my own free will. I had Eighth create this diary, for me, so I could be able to keep tabs on Yuno, so I could be able to keep an eye on Yuki, and because I did this, it's completely of my own free will." And Deus agrees with him, and he ends up living, which is really cool. That fight. It's not really a fight, really. It's more of a struggle for Akise to try to save his own life, so he could stay present in the world to help Yuki later. Um, but yeah, guys, it's super good. I would definitely recommend going and checking it out. I binge watched this anime the first time I saw it. I think I finished it in all 26 episodes in a day and a half, I think. It was really good. And the first time I watched it, actually, I didn't find out about the OVA until a couple days later. One of my friends told me about it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna go check that out." And I actually didn't like the anime until I watched the OVA because it just ended, flat out just ended, and didn't really explain anything at all. It just open, wide open. But the OVA closed it off perfectly, and it really made me fall in love with the characters even more because of how Yuno finally gets back to Yuki, and how Yuki's future diary, the future changes on him. He freaks out because he's the god of time, and his cell phone is the only thing he allowed to exist in that universe, in the void, as Murmur puts it, when she's sitting there talking to Yuki. Um, and all of a sudden the future changes, and Murmur's like, "What the heck was that?" And then Yuki was like, "The future just changed." And then opens up the sphere that he's sitting in, the sphere of causality that he's sitting in, and is like, "I found you," and then they reunite, and it's beautiful. It's really, really heartwarming just to see that they finally got to actually be together in the way that they were meant to be together. But the way they wrote his character off, in my opinion, the way they wrote him was ingenious for the way he was supposed to be played. I would like to have seen Yuki with a little bit more backbone, in my opinion, just so he wouldn't be so much of a wimp and rely on Yuno so much. But I understand why they did it, because they wanted us to get involved with the relationship and show that he really does need her to survive. As she tells him when Ninth is bombing the school in the beginning of the anime. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for you today. I'm gonna put a link to my Instagram and my Twitter down in the description, and if you guys want to go mind following me on those two, that'd be awesome. My Instagram is just an anime page where I go post pictures that I find and stuff that I find really interesting. And my Twitter is where I'm gonna hold most of my interactions with you guys. I'm gonna be holding some polls on Twitter, to where I'm gonna ask you guys to recommend some anime for me to review. Um, so if you guys want to go follow me on there, just to kind of so I can interact with you guys, so I can make content that I know you guys want to see. Um, but yeah, like I said, just hit that red subscribe button and slap a like on this video, guys. That would be awesome. I'm really, really enjoying making content for you guys. It's so cool. You guys are showing me so much support, and it's fantastic. Um, but guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much, and for those of you who are already subscribed to me, thank you. And for those of you who aren't yet, I hope that you like this video. And I hope that you liked some of the other videos on my page. And I hope that you guys do go click that red subscribe button, because I am planning on doing a discussion video on my next anime. I'm going to be doing a collab with one of my really good friends. He knows a lot about anime, and I feel like that's going to be a very, very good video. I'm really looking forward to it, guys. But thank you so much again. I can't say thank you enough. I know a lot of YouTubers kind of go on and on about thanking you guys, but it's really, really awesome to see you guys subscribing to me, and you guys responding to me on my videos, giving me comments, and just posting on Twitter stuff that you would want to see me review, and just interacting with you guys is awesome. But thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace, guys. Awesome.